All right, Chuck Todd at the White House. Chuck, thank you very much. Robert Gibbs is the White House press secretary. Robert, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks very much. Let me ask you about something I read overnight, that Dick Parsons, the chairman of Citigroup, was at the White House last evening. First of all, can you confirm that?
Well, he was here, but he was here to meet with staff on an unrelated matter.
So he didn't get to speak with President Obama about Citigroup and any future financial dealings?
No, sir. That's being anything that's involving Citigroup is over with bank regulators and financial authorities.
All right. Let me talk to you about the speech the president's going to give to this joint session of Congress tonight. Will he sometime during that speech look these people in Congress in the eye and say, and of course the millions of people watching at home, the federal government has no plans to nationalize this country's banks?
Well, let me repeat, Matt, what I've said repeatedly from this briefing room. Our banking system has always been private, but regulated by the government. That's the model we've had. That's the model that we're always going to have. That's the best way to bring about an economic recovery. The president will talk about more details in a financial stability plan that will get the banks that right now aren't lending to families and small businesses the ability to begin doing so, get our economy moving again, get credit flowing. That'll put people back to work.
Robert, so many people are talking about language at this moment, and they think that perhaps Barack Obama has gone too far in the direction of low expectations, doom and gloom, fear about this economy, and he's lost the message of hope. Is it a fair assessment in your opinion?
No, not at all. Look, we have to be honest about where we are in this situation. We're not going to have the ability to make tough choices and to bring the American people along in those tough choices if we're not honest about where we are. We are in a tough economic time. The president tonight will outline talk about the recovery plan and outline other aspects to get our economy moving again. And he is going to talk, as he always does, about the fact that there are brighter days ahead for this country if we take some of those steps to get people back to work. Go ahead.
Let me read you something that Evan Newmark wrote online in WallStreetJournal.com on Monday. An open letter to the president. He said two things I want to get your response to. One, channel Ronald Reagan, not Jimmy Carter. Start selling America's hopes and dreams rather than underselling and maintaining low expectations. Here's what I want your comment, though, on. He went on to write, enough already with class warfare. Populist anti-Wall Street rhetoric scares investors and makes you seem out of touch with the markets. Can you respond to that?
Well, look, I've had my disagreements in the last few days with people at the Chicago Merc or on Wall Street. I'm not going to get into that with them today. What this president is focused on, Matt, is making sure this economy works for working families. That's why the recovery plan is going to have tax cuts in people's wallets very soon. That's why we're already creating jobs. That's why our home foreclosure plan doesn't help people that aren't able to be helped or just in foreclosure, but for the very first time, Matt, helps responsible homeowners that have played by the rules get the refinancing help that they need to drive down their costs. All of these things together can get this economy moving again. This president doesn't need a lecture about hope. We've done that before. We'll do that again. We understand there are brighter days ahead.
Two real quick points. Tim Geithner,
Sure.
Does he still have the full confidence of President Obama?
Absolutely, 100%.
And Roland Burris expected to be in attendance tonight as the president addresses this joint session of Congress. As you know, he's come under fire, bipartisan fire, for what is perceived as a possible lack of truthfulness during this whole process where he was named as a senator from the state of Illinois. The president has talked a lot about transparency in government and transparency with government officials. In your opinion, does Roland Burris meet the threshold for transparency that the president wants to see?
Well, Matt, what I talked about here just last week was obviously many of the representations that Senator Burris made in order to get into office have now proved to be true. I think he has to spend some time thinking about his future and make a determination about what's best for Illinois. The representations he's made have proved to be untrue. I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
Right.
That Senator Burris needs to take some time and think about whether he can actually help this country, whether he can serve the constituents of Illinois. That's a question for him, and I hope he'll do some real thinking about that.
All right, Robert Gibbs. Robert, at the White House this morning. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Matt.
You can see President Obama's address to Congress tonight at